Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome everybody watching on YouTube, Facebook, website, and Periscope. Hey, DD, 91. How are you guys? Okay, so it's Thanksgiving, and this week we are talking about being gratefulness, and we're actually going to look at the life of Paul, which is pretty interesting. We're talking about gratefulness. I want to start off with a story, though. A few years ago, I was working for a Fortune 500 company, and I come out of a training program. I took over the worst business unit that they had. They had about 72 different vocational colleges. Hey, Russia, thank you for joining. Peace sign. I took over the worst vocational college they had in the country. So it was a business unit. It was a $5-7 million annual revenue business unit. I got there. There were a lot of things wrong. I was the 5th executive director in 4 years. But the long story short, and the point for this talk is that after having to fire a number of people for compliance issues, we then came into a really bad time for the industry that I was in. And the person who was leading the company ended up taking us through 6 different rounds of layoffs. So I had to go back. I had to go back to my budget, right, my P&L, and I had to look for positions that we could cut, and we had to keep cutting and keep cutting and keep cutting till we cut so deep we were wondering how in the world could we possibly even open the doors every day. But my point is that I had somebody sitting up in an office in another city, not even in my city, never even really seen my business unit, who was saying to me, I'm not really concerned with how your business is going or what you're able to do down there. I just need you to cut. And the point is that, so what are we being grateful for today? The point is that that person had a very difficult time and a very difficult position to make decisions in. I was in a very difficult position to make decisions in. It was actually my first time being kind of head of a major business unit. And I don't think either one of us made very good decisions during that time. When we look at Acts, or in Acts 9, we're talking about Saul's conversion when he was on the road to Damascus. And if you know anything about Saul's story, he was just persecuting the Christians. He was killing a ton of Christians. He's on this road. Most of the Christians are really scared of him. And all of a sudden, Jesus appears in a bright light. And hey, JP Funky, probably Allison Funky. Anyway, Jesus appears in a really bright light, and he says, "Hey, Saul, why are you doing this to me? Stop doing it." He makes him blind. He's blind for 3 days, and then this guy Ananias comes by and prays for him, and Saul can see, and Saul completely does a 180. That's right, not a 360, a 180. Totally turns his life around, and then he's on the road to serve God. Here's the takeaway today. Here's the gratefulness point today. Just like in my story, in that Fortune 500 company, where there was somebody in a totally different city who'd never really been to my business before, never seen my business unit, who didn't know anything about what we were doing. She was just doing layoffs throughout the year because it was the worst year in that industry's history. And we all did 6 rounds of layoffs, and I had to think of who are the one or two positions we're just going to cut this time around. They kept saying, "That's the last one, that's the last one, the last one," but she couldn't be believed because she was just in an impossible position. There's no way she could make a good decision or lead well there, right? We look at Paul's situation where he is making the wrong decision. He thinks he's making the right decision. He's actually coming at it somehow from the right heart, right? He's saying, "I'm going to go out and kill these Christians because they're going to ruin our faith and our belief and our religion. They're going to hurt other people too. So I got to stop them at any cost." Here's the really good news. Here's the thing that we can be grateful for. God is on the throne of your life. God is on the throne of my life. God is on the throne of Paul's life. Even in that business situation, God is on the throne and we are not. And that applies to people who know God and people who don't know God. That applies to people who know Jesus and don't know Jesus. It certainly applied to Paul. He didn't know Jesus, but Jesus knew him. He didn't have any plans to do a 180 and turn away from what he was doing. He had every plan to keep going in what he was doing and killing the Christians, but Jesus stopped him. Jesus appeared in his life. All right. He changed everything. Ananias, the same thing. Ananias was like, "I'm not going to go talk to Paul or Saul." Right? He kills everybody. And God said, "No, trust me." Ananias is not on the throne of his life. God is on the throne of Ananias' life. So the thing that we can be grateful for today is that we don't know, that we're not smart enough, that we don't have enough wisdom. We can ask for wisdom, God can give it, but we don't know. But God is on the throne. And because God's on the throne, we can be really thankful that whatever happens, whatever comes at us, whatever you're currently living in, whether it's amazing, so thank God because he's on the throne, so he's the one that caused it, praise God, or it's really difficult, praise God, he's on the throne, he is going to work all things together for good. Romans 8:28, I think, right? He's going to work all things together for good. So the thing that we can hold on to, and there's somebody out there, including me, by the way, but there's somebody out there who needs to know and needs to hear. God's on the throne. So if you've had the best year of your life, you praise God. He's on the throne. If you're having a really hard time, you turn to God. You look to God and you say, God, do a Damascus Road experience for me. Show up in a bright light. Hit me hard. Turn me 180. Give me hope. Point me in the right direction because I can't make the decision. I'm not smart enough. I'm not wise enough. I don't know enough to do it. But God, you do. So our gratefulness today, on day 1 of 5 days of being grateful, is God's on the throne and we are not. We just, you know what? Everybody just needs to say that to yourself today out loud 10 times. God, you're on the throne. I'm not. You're on the throne. I'm not. All right. Hopefully that encourages you guys today. We'll see you tomorrow. We're doing 5 days of gratefulness. Bye.